Have you ever looked in the mirror and had nitrogen monoxide idea who you were looking at? Not because you got older, but because their eyes are filled with everybody else's problems, and there's literally zero room left for you? For my entire life, that person was me. I was a professional yes man, a master of making myself invisible, and basically a ghost walking through my own life. I was so terrified of anyone thinking I was selfish that I said yes to literally everything. I thought it was being nice, but it was actually making me disappear. This isn't just about being kind. It's a legit problem where you're so scared of being rejected that you throw your own well-being in the trash for everyone else. That fear leads to insane stress, anxiety, and the feeling that you've completely lost yourself. I was living proof. So I decided to do something completely insane. For 30 days, I challenged myself to stop saying yes. And what happened next didn't just change my schedule. It changed my entire life. The before, a ghost in my own life. Before this challenge, my life was a complete disaster, built on making other people happy. From the outside, it looked awesome. I was the reliable one, the guy you called at work, the friend who was always there, the family member you could count on for anything. But underneath it all, I was drowning. My calendar wasn't my own. Look at this. It was a nightmare of things I said a miserable yes to. Extra projects at work that I had absolutely no time for? Yes, of course. A party for a friend's cousin on my only free weekend? Yep, I'd love to. Helping a friend move for the 3rd time in a year, which meant canceling my own plans to just breathe? Yes, just tell me when and where. Every single yes was a massive betrayal to myself. I was quietly telling myself that my time, my energy, and my sanity were less important than someone else's convenience. And this wasn't building friendships. It was building resentment. I would smile, but inside my head, I was screaming. I was angry at everyone for walking all over me, but I was even angrier at myself for lying down and letting them do it. But the scariest part wasn't the burnout, and trust me, the burnout was real. It was that my identity was literally fading away. I'll never forget this. A friend asked me a simple question. What do you want to do for fun this weekend? And I completely froze. I had nitrogen monoxide idea. My hobbies were whatever my friends were doing. My taste in movies was whatever my partner wanted to watch. I had spent so much time and energy on everyone else that I had no clue what I wanted. I was a stranger to myself, a supporting character in my own movie. That realization was terrifying. I wasn't just tired. I was becoming invisible. The catalyst, the breaking point. Every challenge has a breaking point. And this was mine. It all came down to one single email that shattered everything. For months, I'd been saving and planning for an epic weekend pottery workshop. This wasn't just a class. It was a lifeline. It was the one and only thing on my calendar that was 100% for me. I paid the non-refundable deposit, booked a little Airbnb. I was dreaming about this thing. Then the email landed. It was from a colleague. She was in a complete meltdown. A massive career-making presentation was that same Friday, and she was in trouble. I know this is a huge ask, she wrote, but you are so good at this stuff. Could you please help me? I'd be forever in your debt. My stomach dropped to the floor. My entire being was screaming, nitrogen monoxide. But years of being a yes man kicked in like a reflex. The guilt was suffocating. The fear of letting her down was overwhelming. My brain started making excuses for her. Asterisk, her career is on the line. I can take another pottery class someday. It's the right thing to do. I stared at the keyboard, and with fingers that felt like they belonged to someone else, I typed, "Of course, happy to help." The second I hit send, the self-betrayal hit me like a truck. I wasn't just missing a workshop. I had actively chosen to sacrifice my own joy for someone else's emergency. That night, the pottery confirmation email was mocking me. I felt completely hollow. The resentment was now a raging fire. I had let my fear of disappointing her win over the certainty of disappointing myself. That was the moment. Staring at the ghost I'd become, I knew something had to change, big time. That night, this 30-day challenge was born. For the next 30 days, I would learn to say the word that terrified me the most: no. The experiment minus 30 days of no. The rules of the challenge were simple. For 30 days, no more automatic yes. For any request, I would pause, consider if I actually had the time, energy, and the desire to do it. And then I would give an honest answer. This wasn't about becoming a jerk. It was about making my yes mean something again. Week 1. The awkwardness and the guilt. The first week was brutal. Every tiny request felt like a high-stakes negotiation with my own brain. The first test came immediately. A coworker asked, "Can you take a quick look at this?" My body wanted to scream, "Sure," but I paused. My heart was pounding. I took a breath and said, "I'm slammed right now, but I can look at it in an hour." And he just said, "Okay, cool, thanks," and walked away. That's IT, no drama. Nobody got mad. It was a revelation. But the guilt was still there, buzzing in my chest. Later, a friend invited me to a last-minute party. I was exhausted. Saying no felt impossible. "So sorry, I can't make it tonight. I'm completely wiped out. Have fun." I braced myself for the pushback, but instead, she just said, "No worries. Get some rest." With every no, the disaster I was expecting never happened. The world didn't end. Friendships weren't destroyed. The discomfort was all in my head. Week 2. The pushback and the first real test. Just when I was getting comfortable, Week 2 hit me with the first boss battle. This is when things got real. My mom, who I love, is used to me doing whatever she asks. She wanted me to commit to a weekly dinner on the one night I have my gym class, a tiny ritual I needed for myself. When I explained that night didn't work and suggested another, she got quiet. "But you always make time for family," she said, and I could feel the guilt trip. Old me would have caved instantly. But I held my ground respectfully but firmly. My palms were sweating. I felt awful. But it taught me the ultimate power-up, the pause. Instead of reacting, I learned to say, "Let me check my calendar and get back to you." It gives you space to protect yourself instead of getting steamrolled. Week 3. The revelation. It's not about them. Week 3 is when my brain literally exploded. I had to say a really tough no to my boss about a weekend project, and I had a full-blown panic attack. I was sure I was getting fired. But as I sat with that fear, it hit me. My anxiety wasn't about my boss. It was a primal fear of disapproval I'd had since I was a kid. I was replaying old ideas that told me my value was based on how useful I was to other people. I finally understood. I wasn't being nice. I was being scared. I was using other people's approval as a shield. The problem wasn't them. It was inside me. And if it was inside me, I could fix it. Saying no became an act of self-respect. Setting a boundary wasn't selfish. It was a necessary form of self-care. Week 4. The new normal. Finding my voice. By the last week, everything had changed. Saying no didn't feel like a declaration of war anymore. It just felt honest. The requests didn't stop, but my brain was completely rewired. I could say no calmly without a 20-page apology. And the craziest part? My relationships got better. The friendships that were only about what I could do for them just faded away. But the people who actually cared about me, we got closer. Our friendships were more real, built on respect, not obligation. One afternoon, I said no to a casual request, and then, without even thinking, I said yes to a spontaneous solo trip to the beach that weekend. I realized every no to someone else created space for a massive, thundering yes to myself. Section 4. The after. The person in the mirror. So after 30 days of this insane challenge, I looked in the mirror, and for the first time in years, I recognized the guy staring back. The tired, haunted look was gone. In its place was a quiet confidence. The change wasn't just in my head. It rippled out into every single part of my life. I did the math. I had reclaimed nearly 15 hours every single week. 15 hours. I re-enrolled in that pottery class. I started hiking again. I was rediscovering the person I'd buried under a mountain of yeses. This wasn't just about avoiding burnout. It was about building a life that I was actually excited to live. My relationships were completely transformed. Some one-sided friendships just fizzled out, which stung at first, but it made space for the real ones to grow. My true friendships got deeper. My family, after a little time, started to respect my boundaries. I learned that good boundaries don't push people away. They teach people how to love you better. My mental health completely changed. The constant anxiety that followed me everywhere started to fade away. The resentment was gone, replaced by a feeling of empowerment. I was no longer a victim of my own schedule. But the biggest change was my sense of self. I wasn't a ghost anymore. I had opinions, I had desires. Saying no to others let me finally say yes to myself. The person in the mirror wasn't a reflection of everyone else. She was me. And I was finally happy to see her. If this is hitting home for you, if you know what it feels like to be exhausted from putting everyone else first, then smash that subscribe button. This is a community for all of us learning to take our lives back, one no at a time, and you're not going to want to miss what we do next. How you can start your first no. I know starting this journey feels massive, but it starts with tiny, easy steps. Here's how you can do it. Step 1. Master the pause. This is your secret weapon. When someone asks for something, that automatic yes is a reflex. Your mission is to interrupt it. Just say, "Let me check my calendar and I'll get back to you." Or, "I need to think about that." Boom. That little pause is where you break the cycle. Step 2. Start small. Don't start by saying no to your boss. Build your no muscle on the little things. Say no, thank you, to that second slice of cake. Let a friend's call go to voicemail when you're busy and just text them you'll call back. Every tiny no is a win that builds your power. Step 3. Know your why. It's way easier to say no when you know what you're saying yes to. What are you protecting? Your peace? Your health? Time with your kids? When you know what's important, it's easy to say no to things that get in the way. Step 4. Reframe the guilt. Guilt is the cage that keeps you trapped. You have to fight it. Tell yourself this over and over. Setting a boundary is not mean. It's an act of self-respect. You are not responsible for how other people react to your boundaries. You are only responsible for being kind when you communicate them. This experiment taught me that no is not a bad word. It's not a rejection. It's one of the most powerful words in the world. No is the word that carves out the space for your yes to actually mean something. It's the word that protects your peace and lets you show up as 100% you. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 24 hours, just find one small, low-stakes opportunity to say a gentle, respectful no. Maybe it's declining an extra task, or just being honest about what you want for dinner. Drop a comment below and tell me what you said no to. And more importantly, tell me how it felt. There's power in sharing this and realizing you are not alone. Remember, saying no isn't about shutting the world out. It's about finally kicking the door open to yourself.